Hey folks, welcome back to Hot Tub Beer Review. Today we are going to the lovely Modern Times Brewing out of San Diego, California, and we're going to try their Tiger Millionaire.
Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Hopped Up Beer Review, the show where we give you our unprofessional and somewhat biased opinion about the beer we are drinking and reviewing. And we are back to do that yet again. I've got Andy in the attic. I've got Jay. Gentlemen, what are we drinking today?
Today we're going to Modern Times Beer. It's out of San Diego, California, and they have this nice little triple IPA called Tiger Millionaire. I know Ben is thrilled.
You brought this one back just for me, didn't you?
I did not actually acquire this one. A buddy of mine acquired it. I was supposed to travel there last year, and I didn't get to make that trip. But since I didn't, he went by the brewery and picked it up on his way to the airport and brought it back. So this has been pressurized.
All right.
Fair warning. Maybe get your towel or two.
All right, mine's good. I'll go ahead and try that. And the second I crack it, I can smell
hops.
Okay.
It's good.
I noticed the tapping on the can, and I will say, since I was a kid, I remember people tapping on top of cans, whether it's Coke or beer, or soft drinks or beer, carbonated beverages. Is there? I don't know. That's what I was saying. It just made me think, well, is there an actual reason, or is there a scientific reason that says that tapping will do that?
Is that a myth or a legend? I mean,
I don't know. I might have to look that up.
Yeah.
Get back. I'd love some comments, y'all.
I mean, every little bit helps when Jay shakes them up. So
so aromatic.
It is very much so.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
Oh, Ben, this is an easy one. This is it's 10.4%. I couldn't find an IBU listing on it. So they've done a very good job on, I think that the dry hopping did well, because they said they used Citra and Citra Cryo hops, and then said they later in the process they add Nelson hops. And they said it's got notes of citrus, tropical fruit, and white wine. And I can really pick that out.
Yeah.
That kind of light grape, wine grape taste to it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really good. It's a triple IPA. So like I said, 10.4%. I'll get back to more on the name Tiger Millionaire after I explain about this brewery. Modern Times Beer, founded in 2013. And just so y'all know, I went way into research and rabbit hole. So take your time sipping. It's a good thing it's, full pint. It started yeah, it's a regional brewery. It started in 2013, and it's got a production brewery and tasting room in the Port Lana neighborhood, but it's got 2 other tasting rooms in the area, and they also brew coffee. So the name Modern Times, it was named after a utopian community that was built on Long Island, New York around 1850, 1851. And it was based on individualized sovereignty and equitable commerce. So they bartered, they lived without a state. They pretty much, they experimented with, let me get this, creating a less exploitative and more pleasurable world. Some said that they ignored the conventions of marriage. So they swapped the cost of how much labor was exerted to bring a product or a service to the consumers in the area.
I was a little worried when you were talking about swapping and they didn't trust in conventional marriage.
Yeah, well, eventually the papers got a hold of it, but it was very forward thinking, where like they had anti-Victorian views of marriage. So 1850s, the women had more rights. You know, they wanted the women equal rights as the men. So that's why it wasn't heard of, and so that's why it wasn't. People typically just didn't get married, and the woman's place was in the home, and the men did everything. Women had as much authority and responsibility as the men did, and vice versa, things like that. But I think the papers got a hold of it, and so rumors spread that it was like a free love, you know, kind of colony, and then it was overrun by legitimate wackos who would come in and ruin it. So they eventually, and then some of the people who were there, it kind of started to go downhill because several things: Civil War, there was some economic hardship that occurred during then, and some of the people started losing sight with the whole idea of it, and they were actually, I want to get paid, and so they moved out. And then because of the weirdos starting to move in, they thought they should rebrand and renamed it, so then it became Brentwood, New York. So out there on the, so Ben, I was going to say, once I said that, I was wondering, Ben, if you've heard or been there or know of anybody there.
I just think it's interesting. The original, it was originally called Modern Times.
Yes, or the community that they established.
So it's like they have this, you know, different name, you know, just kind of an odd name, and then at least for 1850 anyway, and then they just go to Brentwood.
Yeah,
I think that's what I was like.
Brentwood.
Yeah, I just didn't know, since you lived up there, if you knew about there are stories about Brentwood and all. Now it's just a normal community and all, but they've got like historical placards to tell about it. And I read this old article in the New York Times, I think from the 1990s, about it.
What's the connection, Andy?
We'll get there. So the brewery was named after that, and they named it due to the nature of experimentation, education, adaptation, ambition, community, ingenuity, and chill vibes. That's why. So then their beers are often named after real utopian experiments and mythological utopias. Also, they name their beers after random brain nuggets or inside jokes. So I was like, well, that doesn't tell me much about Tiger Millionaire. Yeah, so I have never heard of Tiger Millionaire. So you Google Tiger Millionaire, I was thinking, okay, so a reference to a certain lifestyle or a certain type of person. No, the only thing that came up Tiger Millionaire, possibly, I'm guessing, because the only thing I could find is after an episode and a specific wrestler on an episode of this animated series called Steven Universe. And specifically season 1, episode 9 was named Tiger Millionaire. The series ran from 2013 to 2019. So the Tiger Millionaire of this episode was a rich feline industrialist who took the jungle on. So he was a single child of wealthy tiger family. He clawed out his own destiny, making money in the coconut mines, a coconut mine. And his persona was taken on by Steven Universe, also known as the Tiger Philanthropist, in case some people are confused about that. But I got a pic of it. So that's Tiger Millionaire.
Okay.
This is what our beer quite possibly is named after. So that might be the inside joke or brain nugget.
And you said the brewery started in 2013, right?
I did.
Yes.
And so this episode would have aired in 2013 because it was season 1. Yeah.
And I don't know when this brew was first established. So
yeah.
Well, I don't think this one's been around very long.
Okay.
So this is kind of one of their limited releases. It's not one of their standards from what I recall.
I don't remember talking so much about a regional brewery that is nowhere near us or as distributed across the country. Like I usually talk this much on a macro. So
yeah, but they're also, if I recall, didn't they get bought somewhere? I thought I saw where they were like a subsidiary of Maui Brewing now.
That sounds familiar. No. Yes, I wrote that down. Thank you. They are a subsidiary of Maui Brewing. I did write that down as up to the side.
So yeah, they sold at some point in the last few years. So they've been around for, it would be 10 years this year. But I mean,
Yeah, Andy, I don't know if you know this. Jay's actually been there, so
You've been there?
don't know if you knew that.
So, yes, I went to the brewery in probably 2018.
Oh, then you knew all this.
Maybe 19. No,
you could have told us all this. What?
I was there definitely pre-COVID, visiting San Diego for a conference out in that area, and their brewery is extremely cool. They use the old letters that you put into the black. They use the white letters, and that's how they do them. The block letters. That's how they put their beers up on the boards.
It reminds me of like high school game concession stand lettering.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Or Little League. I mean, when you were playing Little League, and it's kind of, if I recall correctly, it was more in an industrial area. So it was pretty cool brewery. I really enjoyed visiting. And then since then, I know that I've also had several of their other collaborations. They've done several collaboration breweries or beers with Stone and several others. There was one that I had that they did with Stone that was a hazy coffee IPA called Wizards and Gargoyles.
First off, a coffee IPA.
Oh, it was great.
I don't think I've had
and you don't even like coffee.
I don't like coffee, but
wow.
I love that one. Yeah.
What next thing you're gonna tell me they're gonna make a hazy stout or something like that? Coffee IPA. Interesting.
Yeah. We had it on draft here. I used to get it at a couple of the bottle shops and areas and restaurants.
So Jay, have you had this one specifically?
I have had this one because I had one when it was brought back to me.
Okay, gotcha.
Andy, do you have more wizardry for us? Because these
I've talked enough.
Yeah, you have. I agree. All right, I'll go first since Jay's had this one and Andy has shared lots of information. This is where I flash on the screen. I'm not the IPA guy. Go ahead and throw that out there. So the first sip or two that I took, I was like, man, there's a different flavor there. And when you said the white wine, I mean, that's exactly what it is. It has definitely that very fruity wine flavor. It's not bitter. It has a little bit of a touch, but it's gone now that I'm, halfway into the beer. So this one's actually really good. Does not feel like 10.4% at all to me. So this one could be very, very dangerous because I've drank enough to pour out the rest into my can. And I think it's actually really good for not being the IPA guy here. So I'm going to give this one an 8. I think it's a great flavor. I like that wine flavor mixed with the IPA and the hazy. So I think it's really, really good.
Yeah. It really tastes kind of thick on the palate.
It does.
And it's like you got that little white wine appeal to it. So it feels like a heavy tasting wine, but you're not thinking, oh, I'm drinking wine. You're definitely feeling a hazy IPA. And is this one even categorized as a hazy, or is it just a triple? Because it feels like a hazy. At nowhere on it does it say hazy, so it might be just a regular triple. But it's got a lot of citrus and tropical flavors, like they said. So they did a really good job keeping the bitterness at a minimum, but bringing out that hop aroma and flavor, and adding that little burst of white wine grapes, and all. And it goes down really easy and really fast. And it does, like you said, it does not feel like a triple. It doesn't feel over 7%. And therefore, I'm going to give it a great score because it's so easy I'm going to give it an 8.5. This is a great beer.
Yeah, I agree with you, Andy. I mean, unfortunately, at the time when I visited, Modern Times probably at least 3 years ago. Yeah, it was. I can tell you exactly when it was. It was in November of 2019.
Good
But
old days.
when I visited there, yeah, it was several months, like, talking 3 or 4 months before COVID came in. But I was trying to think through my conference timeline and when and where other timelines aligned with work and things like that. So November of 2019, at that time, I was not as diligent and heavy with Untapped. So I did not rank or even write down the beers that I had while I was there. And I wish I had, because they were all fantastic. I do remember coming back, and when I saw that collaboration beer here locally between them and Stone, I was like, hey, Modern Times, I was there and I got to try that. Oh, wow, that's delicious. So, but yeah, this to me, like you guys said, I never really thought about the white wine aspect of it. And if you read the description, it says a haze beast with the notes that you said, and then the white wine, and it's not bitter, which I think plays to Ben. It's got a great flavor, great aroma. It's an 8.5 for me all day long. And definitely not that 10.4. You can't tell that. It's deceptive.
That is going to be an 8.3 for the Tiger Millionaire for Modern Times beer out of San Diego, California. Definitely one that can be dangerous. But if you are not a big fan of IPAs because of the bitter, this is one you have to grab if you see it. It is really, really good. Great beer. Great job, Modern Times. I think we all enjoyed this one today. Thanks, Jay, for getting it to us. And glad we got to try this one and review it. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share that notification bell, as well as check us out on social media. And hey, come say hey on Discord. We'd love to see you there. We've got our own Hopped Up Beer Review server. Come join the chat community there and check in with us, as well as the others that are on that channel. For Andy in the attic and Jay, I am Ben. Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
Cheers, mates.
Got ink on my finger. Realized that when I pointed it.